If you're a grappler who wants to get strong, build muscle, have a really big gas tank, stop getting injured so much, and really improve their recovery, I'm going to go over my Relentless Grappler system, which I think is the best system, or best training split for grapplers, especially if you're on the older side. Because when I came back into grappling and I was consistent, I just saw this. People were getting hurt a lot. People were just super sore after training. Even guys who were doing this for years were still gassing out. And I realized these things, I didn't really have a lot of those problems. Even at like white or blue belt, I wasn't gassing out like some of these higher belts were. So it got me thinking that there's something to the strength and condition for longevity and for performance. But then I saw people who were on strength and condition programs, and it wasn't helping them as much as it had helped me. Like their training was negatively affecting their jiu-jitsu. So I knew there was a balance, that you had to do the right amount. If you didn't do the right amount, it could have a backfire, which is why I created the Relentless Grappler program. So today I'm going to go over the principles of it and how you can apply that to your own training. But if you're looking for actual help, like one-on-one coaching, I'm looking for 5 new grapplers who want to get started this month to join my one-on-one coaching, where I'll personalize every single workout for you. I'll be there with you every step of the way to answer questions, critique your form, anything you need. If you're interested, I'll put the description below. So the first principle is low volume. You have to understand is that if you just do like a regular program, that's just designed for a person, like that's the only form of exercise. If you do like a strength and condition program or any workout, and then you do say like 4 days of jiu-jitsu, oftentimes that's not much. Your training should reflect your lifestyle and your hobbies you have, which is why if you look at like athletes, their training is a lot more intense off season, and it's for less intense, less work during season. This is the same thing. If you're training jiu-jitsu, like a little goes a long way, which means doing less sets, exercises, and even reps overall. For that reason, most guys, I'm going to program full body training because it's easier to spread fatigue throughout the whole week instead of one day, versus like you're just smashing one body part and then you go into jiu-jitsu and your legs are fried, your upper body's fried. You're much better doing full body training and spread that over and only doing what you need. And I always think of this like if you're sick and you get like a prescription, if you don't take enough, it's probably not going to work. But if you take the right amount, it's actually going to work. But if you take too much, you're going to have negative consequences. Strength and condition can be the same thing. But just because we're doing low volume doesn't mean intensity doesn't matter. Intensity actually drives results. So oftentimes we're doing less work, but we still want to keep intensity pretty high and quality high. So when we're doing our sets, we want to do it with intent, good form, good control, and take it pretty close to failure. So a few ways to gauge intensity would be on a scale 1 to 10, how hard was that set? It should be around a 7 to 9. As far as working sets. Or you could do like reps left in the tank. So if you do a set, you should have like 3 reps left in the tank. If you had like 8 reps left in the tank, that would be too light, right? If you had 0 reps left in the tank, it might be too intense. It might beat you up if you train like that all the time. Another way to think about this is do your reps involuntary slow down. So when you first do a set, it's pretty easy to come up. It's pretty fast. By your last few reps, it should be a little shaky. It should be hard. If it doesn't slow down, again, the weight is probably too light. The next thing is we have to rest. Like jiu-jitsu is famous for doing these circuits with no rest, but what ends up happening, we don't rest enough. That lowers our intensity. Like if we're just going nonstop, like how intense is a set? Are the sets? How heavy can the sets actually be? So when we do strength training, we want to have intensity, but then we want to rest for 2 or 3 minutes so we can repeat that intensity for like 1, 2, maybe even 3 sets. If we're not doing that, our intensity goes down and our results will go down. Plus, it creates unnecessary fatigue that's not going to help us out, but it's going to lead us to fatigue on the mats, which we don't want. The last thing is exercise selection. We want to pick exercises that somewhat feel good. They shouldn't really bang up a joint or really cause a lot of joint distress. There's no necessary exercise. So if a barbell squat hurts your neck or your back, you can just do a different squat variation. You want to find exercises that work for you, that you'll be able to maintain for a long period of time so you can progress it over time. Because that's really how you're going to get strong, build muscle, and become a more resilient grappler. So next I want to talk about what actually in these workouts. So these workouts usually include these components. First, we want to do power because we want to be explosive because this helps keep our joints and our muscles strong, especially jumps. That's going to strengthen joints around the knees. Plus, it allows us to be explosive when we need to on the mat. And as we get older, we lose these fast twitch muscle fibers, which is why when we get older, we are often like slower. Like if you fall down, it's usually a lot more devastating versus like if a kid falls down. So you want to keep these power qualities up. So usually I'm programming like medicine ball throws, different plyometrics, jumps, even like barbell lifts, like barbell cleans. You want at least one lower body exercise, sometimes two. So usually when we do lower body, we want to pick from these categories. We're going to do some type of squat pattern. Again, it doesn't have to be a barbell squat. Even I would consider something like a leg presser squat pattern. It could be like a goblet squat, it could be a Zercher squat, a front squat. And then we want to do some type of like hinge pattern, because the squat pattern is going to really work the quads, the hamstrings, and the glutes, but mainly the quads. Where the hamstring pattern is going to really strengthen the lower back, the glutes, and the hamstrings, and we want to put that into our program as well. So these are things like RDLs, deadlifts, even hip thrusters. Because leg exercises can be stressful, sometimes if your recovery is not the best, like you could just program one. If your recovery is pretty good, you can at least program 2 per session. So for upper body, we want to always do these 2 upper body exercises. An upper body push, where we push something away. So it could be a bench press, but it doesn't have to be. It could be a dumbbell press. It could be push-ups. It could be dips. It could be a bunch of things. But where we're pushing away here or here, that would be your press. Then we want to do a pull. So that's anything we pull towards us. So usually there's 2 pull categories, where we pull overhead and then when we pull towards us. So pulling towards us would be like a one-arm row, a seated row, bent over row. For vertical pulls, it would usually be like a pull-up, a chin-up, lat pull-down variations. Now, if you just do those 4 exercises, so like power, the 2 legs, the 2 upper body, you're good. That's going to give you like 80% of the results, which is great because it doesn't take that much time to do. But if you do have extra time, here I would put accessory exercises that you're trying to develop. So maybe areas that are weak or areas that you just want to develop. So maybe if you're a guy and you want bigger shoulders and biceps, it's completely okay to want more muscles as a jiu-jitsu athlete. Or you say you're someone who like your back always constantly hurts. Sometimes when areas hurt, like sometimes people think, okay, we have to stay away from that area, but no, it's the opposite. We usually have to address that area and strengthen it over time, obviously in a smart, intelligent, progressive way. But like, for example, if your back always hurts, we need to get your back strong. If your knees hurt, we probably need to maybe do some isolation stuff for our knees, maybe some leg extensions or leg curls. So this is your accessory stuff. So usually it's going to be extra arm work, glute work, ab work, that type of stuff. Another alternative that you can do, or if you have time, you can actually do both, is you can do conditioning at the end, because that's going to just improve your gas tank even more. So I like very short conditioning routines after your strength training. Oftentimes they'll be interval based, but it's the same concept with a strength train, where you want intense, short, and then longer rest periods. So for things like this, I like maybe go on the air bike, or you can do kettlebell swings, or you can do hill sprints. Anything where you can go intense that's not going to be up your joints, go really hard for like 5 to 15 seconds, then go slow, complete rest for 60 to 90 seconds, repeat like say 4 to 8 times, and that's going to really enhance your gas tank. And something that people don't realize that I just want to mention here is getting strong enhances your gas tank. When you're weak, every technique you do takes a large percent of your strength, but when you're strong and you don't muscle through techniques, you know how to use the right strength for your technique, like techniques don't take that much out of you. So strength training alone is going to improve your gas tank a ton. So let me just give you a quick example of a full body workout that you could do. So I'll take my client Pat this morning, for example. He's a 65-year-old blue belt. So this morning we started with broad jumps, which is jumping forward 3 times, and then we went on the bench. We did plyo push-ups. So that's when you do a push-up and you throw yourself up. So it's an explosive version of push-up. So we did those 2 power exercises. So we do both back to back, take a long rest 3 times. Then for our strength work, we did trap bar deadlifts. We did 3 heavy sets of 5. Then we did dumbbell floor presses. We did 3 sets of 8, and those are great too because they limit the range of motion. So if you have kind of achy shoulders, that can make this just the movement feel a little better. Number 3, then we did walk-in lunges with weights. So we did 3 sets of 6 with that, and then to finish up like the compound lifts, we did a pendulum row, which is like a bent over row when you take a barbell, but you row and you just touch the ground a rep. So we did that for 3 sets of 5. And then to finish off, we did a conditioning superset. So what we did, we jumped on the prowler or the sled. We sprinted about 100 feet as fast as you could. Then he grabbed 2 heavy kettlebells and did farmer's walk back. Then we recovered for 2 minutes, and we did this 4 times. And now, don't forget about the rest, because between all the strength session, all the strength work that we did, we took long rest periods, like 2 or 3 minutes. And one more thing I'll kind of throw in for the strength training, we don't just go right into the heavy stuff, but we want to build up to it. So warm-up sets and working sets. So when we do warm-up sets, we usually start with something very light for 10. Then we add weight and do like moderate weight for 5. And then we go into our working sets. If you can do a lot of weight on an exercise, you could add more warm-up sets. So for example, you could do 10 reps with the light weight, 5 reps with the moderate weight, 3 reps of a heavy weight, and then you go into your heavy sets. Now, I hope this helps. If you implement this style of training into your strength and condition, it's going to pay off dividends. I believe that wholeheartedly. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. If you want my help, go to the description and apply for coaching.